I guess I should be disqualified because I'm wearing this shirt.
Yeah.
But glory be, Stefanski is gone.
I think I did what I was able to do, and I definitely grew from a lot of things, and I got experience now. So
the news hit Cleveland like a thunderclap. Kevin Stefanski was out, fired, gone. Just days after the season ended, the Browns officially pulled the plug on their head coach. And while the headlines focused on front office statements and organizational direction, the real question everyone wanted answered was much simpler and far more emotional.
If you're not built, which you aren't going to be, the Raiders aren't built.
No.
And whoever they pick, they're going to get a quarterback, Joe.
They got to.
They're going to get a quarterback, Unc.
How did Shedeur Sanders react? Because make no mistake, this wasn't just a coaching change. This was a moment that could define Shedeur Sanders' entire future in Cleveland. For Shedeur, the firing of Kevin Stefanski wasn't just business. It was personal, complicated, and layered with emotions that went far deeper than a standard coach-player separation. Stefanski was the man who hesitated to name him the starter, the man who resisted committing to him publicly, the man whose system often felt like it was squeezing Shedeur instead of unleashing him. And yet, he was also the coach who eventually handed him the keys, who stood at the podium, and finally called him the franchise quarterback. So when the decision came down, Shedeur didn't celebrate. He didn't take a victory lap. He didn't post anything reckless or emotional. Instead, his reaction was calm, measured, and telling.
where you at on the field, situations. So there was a lot of situations that was good. I feel like this was a good learning year for me, and I'm excited for it because, like I say, like moving forward, I'll be prepared.
According to people close to the situation, Shedeur found out the same way most players did, through his phone, a message, a notification, one line that confirmed what rumors had been hinting at for weeks. Stefanski was done in Cleveland. And Shedeur's first reaction wasn't shock, it was silence. Those close to him say he sat with it. No immediate statements, no cryptic posts, no subtle shots, just quiet reflection. And that alone speaks volumes, because Shedeur understands something many young quarterbacks don't. Optics matter, timing matters. And moments like this can define how a locker room, a fan base, and an entire organization views you. When he finally did respond, it wasn't with bitterness. It wasn't with relief. It was with respect. Shedeur privately acknowledged that Stefanski gave him his first real opportunity in the NFL.
Want to find a coach to marry with Shedeur. Mm-hmm. That's going to help us in so many ways. We ain't going to have a chunk of our money on the quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
And get some receiver.
Even if the relationship was tense at times, even if the trust took longer to build than it should have, Shedeur never forgot that Stefanski was the head coach who ultimately stood behind him when it mattered most. That matters to him. Loyalty matters to him. But here's where things get interesting. While Shedeur was respectful, he was also realistic. Those close to him say he wasn't surprised by the firing. He felt the tension all season. He saw the way play calling didn't always match personnel. He noticed the disconnect between what was happening on the field and what was being said publicly.
That's when a lot of organizations turn over and fire their coaches and go in a different direction. Sometimes they fire general manager and coaches. Sometimes it's just the coach.
He felt the pressure Stefanski was under, and he knew that pressure would eventually land somewhere. And in the NFL, it almost always lands on the head coach. Shedeur's reaction wasn't emotional because, in many ways, he had already prepared for this moment. He understood that his success and Stefanski's job were tied together, but he also knew the organization's belief in him ran deeper than one coach. The front office, ownership, the locker room, those relationships didn't disappear with the pink slip. Internally, Shedeur viewed the firing less as an ending and more as a reset. A reset for the Browns, a reset for the offense, and most importantly, a reset for himself. For the first time since being drafted, Shedeur is heading into an offseason where the franchise is fully built around him without hesitation or mixed messaging. There's no longer a head coach whose philosophy conflicts with his style. No more quiet power struggles. No more wondering if the system will limit him. That doesn't mean Shedeur feels vindicated. He doesn't see this as, I was right, he was wrong. If anything, he sees it as the cost of doing business in the NFL. He's watched his father navigate coaching controversies, firings, and public scrutiny. For years, he understands how fast things move, how loyalty is real, but results are louder. And yet, there's no denying that this moment shifts the balance of power. Shedeur Sanders is no longer just a young quarterback trying to earn trust. He is the centerpiece of the Browns' future. The next head coach will be hired with him in mind. The next offensive system will be designed to fit his strengths. The next chapter of Cleveland football will start with his name at the top of the page. That reality wasn't lost on him.
Against Cam Ward, who went first overall in a draft that he fell into the 5th round in. Against Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders threw for 364 yards and completely outplayed Cam Ward.
In private conversations, Shedeur reportedly acknowledged the weight of it. He knows that a coaching change means opportunity, but it also means accountability. There will be no excuses now, no blaming the scheme, no blaming the play caller. If the Browns struggle moving forward, the spotlight will shine brighter on him than ever before, and he's ready for that. What makes Shedeur's reaction so fascinating is how it contrasts with what many expected. Some assumed he'd feel relief, maybe even quiet satisfaction. After all, Stefanski was the coach who took time to trust him, the coach who limited his freedom early, the coach who seemed unsure until he had no other choice. But Shedeur doesn't operate that way. He doesn't need validation through someone else's failure. His confidence doesn't come from seeing others fall. It comes from knowing who he is and where he's going. That mindset is part of why the Browns believe in him so deeply. Inside the locker room, players noticed his approach. He didn't rally guys against Stefanski. He didn't fan flames. He kept the focus on the future, on improvement, on preparation. That kind of leadership matters, especially during moments of organizational upheaval. And make no mistake, this is upheaval. The Browns are entering one of the most important off seasons in franchise history. A new head coach, a new offensive identity, a young quarterback with massive expectations. Every decision from this point forward will be viewed through the lens of Shedeur Sanders. And he knows it. In fact, those close to him say his mindset has already shifted. This isn't about surviving anymore. It's about building. He's already thinking about off-season work, about chemistry with receivers, about taking command of the locker room in a way that goes beyond talent. He understands that with Stefanski gone, the training wheels are off. There's also a quiet awareness that this moment could define his legacy in Cleveland. Many quarterbacks have been handed opportunity here. Few have been handed trust. Shedeur has both now. And how he responds will determine whether the Browns finally break their cycle of instability or fall back into it. As for Stefanski, Shedeur holds no grudges. He understands the complexity of the situation. Two strong personalities, two different football philosophies, one result-driven league. Sometimes things don't align, and when they don't, someone pays the price. This time, it wasn't the quarterback, and that alone says everything. Shedeur Sanders didn't react with noise because he didn't need to. His silence was confidence, his restraint was maturity, and his focus on what comes next is exactly why the Browns believe he can lead them into a new era. The Stefanski chapter is closed. The Sanders chapter is just beginning. And now, with the franchise fully behind him, the next move is his. The only question left is this: what does Shedeur Sanders do with the power he now holds?